Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf here in the Tour Van Bay at Second Swing Minnetonka, joined by Tyler Fitzel there at the fitting desk for a head-to-head driver comparison. We've got Cobra drivers today. We've got the new, two low spin heads. We've got the DARKSPEED LS that we'll test, and then actually already set up and built for me here is the LTDx LS. So the generation a couple years ago, the LTDx series from Cobra, which performed really well. I know it was very impressive in the fittings, and we wanted to get it here and see kind of what's happened with Cobra drivers in the last couple years. We can talk about the PWR-BRIDGE weighting and the technology there that they've updated the last couple years, but they've also removed or done away with the infinity face from LTDx to where we are now. So I guess, Tyler, what have you seen from these two driver series, in terms of use stuff with LTDx over the last couple years, and then this year with new fittings for DARKSPEED?
Well, one of the major things that we've seen is that I think the LTDx lineup per models from Cobra, they ended up being one of the better drivers on the market, sneaky.
Yeah.
It got them back into the kind of the top 5. So when we start talking about the top 5 selling drivers on the market, Cobra got themselves back into it with that LTDx. And so those models produced really, really good numbers. They started to get people interested back into some of the Cobra, and they've continued that. They've had a couple models in between. They may or may not have performed as well.
Yeah.
But it's not like this comparison where, like, okay, 1 year, huge results and gains, to the next year, not really any gains.
Yeah.
But we also look at the DARKSPEED, which is kind of a transformation as well into some of the new technologies that Cobra's been looking for. They did get rid of the milled face.
Yep.
But they've maintained by still keeping some of the other attributes we're looking for in terms of launch and spin, adjustability. You have weight adjustability, shaft adjustability.
Yep.
They've also aerodynamically been really trying to lead the market on it. You remember one of the other models in between was the Aerojet. We're really that's one of the things that creates club head speed is aerodynamics as well. It's something that you have to look at. It's why all of the companies have different shapes to this too. I think going to be a great comparison because these two clubs, models anyway, have really taken the Cobra into a better place in the market. But also, they're making such a high quality product now that I think for a while we may have looked at it and said, well, it's Cobra. My grandpa played that for a little while, or maybe my dad plays that. But we see some other players on the market that are really getting into the game with Cobra. So. Yeah,
I mean, it's been cool to see how the LTDx family has done over the last couple of years, and then we can talk to aesthetically big differences from this to DARKSPEED now is just kind of all blacked out and dark and speedy as they named it. So yeah, we'll start. I got the LTDx here, Kylie White 60X in a 10.5 degree standard setup here. And then we'll just kind of hit some shots with each and see what happens here. So let's get going here. All right, I have one warm-up shot up there. See if I can beat that one. That was a large miss. Actually, turned out way better than I would have thought. Wow.
Yeah, not bad.
Definitely also, I will say, with the face wheel, there's different face materials and face designs, but very firm feel even for a miss there. Hit that one a little better. Just hope I didn't turn it over too much. Nope.
No, not a lot. One of the things we talk about specifically with, like, why did Cobra go to the milling on the face?
Yeah.
So you talk about that LTDx. That milling actually keeps the ball from slipping or sliding on the face when it makes contact. That actually reduces spin, right? So if the ball's sliding, that's what creates more spin.
Oh, sure.
That's one of the factors that made it such a low spin driver.
If you're able to launch the ball high enough with these things, you could hit it a long ways.
Yeah. So one of the things that benefited customers most greatly with something like this was being able to control some more of the spin. That allows you a couple things. One, if you are launching it higher, it stays in the air longer. And when it does come down, it may roll out a bit more. Generally speaking, if there's not as much spin, you might not see the side angle of the spin.
Yep.
with quite as much curve to that. So maintaining that spin can also really create straighter shots.
Ooh. Still, actually, geez, these are going way farther than it feels like they should, based on just.
Well, that was a little bit on the lower spin side, right?
Right.
So
I
at
know.
1800 with a pretty good launch, the ball stays in the air again, and it rolls out a bit. Even if we look at the optimizer to that, we look at the optimizer, you can see high launch, low spin.
That's the combo.
Now without the ball speed, maybe we missed a few yards of carry distance, but we're still on the other side of it. We're still getting a really, really good total distance.
Yeah.
So if that spin was maybe a little bit higher, that ball may have stayed in the air a few more yards, but still was going to go just as far.
Right. All right, I hit that one really good. Yep. Turned over some, but I like that one. I still think in terms of, hitting, obviously hit a lot of drivers over the last couple of years. It feels really firm, actually.
That's good ball speed, nice launch, low spin.
Yep, that's definitely.
Bombs away.
It felt like a good swing there. Another one towards the toe, but this one might work out. Yep. There's some low spin for you.
Yeah.
You're not kidding about that low spin.
And even like we talk about this for you, you can benefit maybe from a little bit more launch.
Yeah.
Because you tend to play a 9.
Mm-hmm.
You might even adjust that so it's a little bit lower. But in this case, for you, if you don't spin something without launch, it's actually going to dive.
Right.
So I look at it as climbing spin and diving spin. It's kind of the two types of spin you get.
Mm-hmm.
We need something to climb, but not too much. We need something to come down, but not too fast.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, this is. I've got a good kind of mix of good contact and off-center contact here, and I think the results so far, maybe I'll hit one more, but so far it's been pretty good here. Another one that was pretty solid contact. Yeah.
Very. One of the questions that we get quite a bit is you start talking about technology, and we're a few years apart in the LTDx versus the new DARKSPEED. When we start talking about technology, and you look at this and go, wow, my numbers were pretty darn good. Maybe a little bit more launch would have been nice. Mm-hmm. We see, hey, the ball speed here, maybe a little bit less than where I could be on that. When we start talking about technology, that's one of the things that we're going to get into is like, when we compare it, how is this comparing to the new driver?
Yeah.
Because where are the differences amongst them that are going to make you say, it's time for a new driver, let's get a new driver? And optimizing those numbers is really what we want to get to.
Yeah.
And then consistency to that too.
Oh, look at them out on the road over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did, to be fair, I mean, that went 320 yards. That's out on the road.
Right. No, I'm saying that as a way of like, it's impressive how far it went. Yeah.
From that angle, let's see where you are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like that angle. That's good.
All right.
So let's look. What we got? Do we have averages for all the LTDx LS swings here? Kind of want to see what we have working with there.
Yeah, about 166. That's a little less than I think you could be on that one.
Yeah, and I didn't hit them all great, but I think that's, again, I'm not going to, on the golf course, I'm not going to hit every single shot on the center of the face either. So. Right.
For the other side of it too, these are pretty similar for your numbers. Like you're generally somewhere around 10 to 12 degrees. You're usually around 2,000 spin. You usually carry it about 280 to 90, out about 310 to 320. Mm-hmm. Like those are pretty
that's pretty
common
standard
numbers. As an example, if you look at this from a carry distance perspective, you'll notice this is what I mentioned. The ones that stay in the air or a little bit more out to the right, they're the ones that have more carry, more total.
Right.
As you look at like just this shot right here, we say this has a really, really good ball speed, 12 launch, 18 spin, stays in the air 292, goes 320. Mm-hmm. From that optimizer's perspective,
right,
that's exactly what we
want to see. You're in the blue on all, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to see out of it.
Geez, yeah, more yardage than is optimal according to that.
So then if as an example, we'll get to testing the newer product here in a second, but if I'm doing that more often with the newer product, that's where some of the advantages come in.
Yes.
Is, okay, so maybe I missed it, and I didn't quite catch all of it. Well, that may not have gotten me all the ball speed I wanted. Maybe it got me some of the spin I wanted or some of the launch I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where I'm interested to see is how does the newer one stack up?
Yeah.
Because we're going to use the same shaft, same lob,
Yep,
same
correct.
low spin head. We're going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We take a product that was absolutely one of the best on the market, both at the time too. It was price-wise less than the others on the market, but performance-wise, absolutely with all of them.
Exactly.
And the same thing is true as we look at like the DARKSPEED. Phenomenal club. It was really, really good this year. And we want to take a look. How does the technology stack up going back a few years?
Right. Let's do it right now.
Okay.
So DARKSPEED LS looks very different. I know one thing on the LTDx, there's kind of like these ridges, so to speak, on the crown. I assume at that point it was for aerodynamics.
Yes.
Now it's just completely smoothed out, no infinity face anymore, obviously. And then obviously just color-wise, Cobra's had a history of very colorful golf clubs, and then they just removed all the color they could with the DARKSPEED.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of fascinating, but I love the look of it. Matte finish on the crown is my thing, so I love it. Oh yeah. There's a good one. If that comes back, that's going to be good too. Oh, kind of stayed out there.
Yeah, and
Still good though. I mean, look at that spin and launch too.
I'm glad you said something about Cobra with the color, right? In the contrast is how this has kind of taken all the color out of it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things about color in general is it's very recognizable when you see the best players on TV swing that club, because they'll make that swing and they might finish their swing, and as they finish their swing, you're seeing, like Ricky Fowler when he was playing the orange driver.
Right.
Right. There wasn't a question as to what driver he was playing. We knew exactly what it was.
Or was it back with the Amcell or BioCell when they had the red and the blue and the orange options with it? You knew for a fact what driver it was when you saw it out there on TV, which is a unique branding thing Cobra did back then.
Well, and even for that, right? Every company's kind of trying to find that small niche that they can get into, where let's say for instance, this isn't true, but let's say for instance, all the big drivers decide to go yellow.
Yeah.
Right. All the accents are yellow, and companies don't call on one another and go, what color are you going to use this year? But in that case, as an example, if all of a sudden they're going to everybody uses yellow, it's like, wait a minute, I don't know if that was a ping. I don't know if it's a Titleist. I don't know if it's a TaylorMade. I don't know what that is. So it's one of the things, that's one of the reasons they actually do change up the colors too. But there's a lot more tech under the hood of this. Let's hit a couple more and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it should be good. Ooh, turning over a little bit. The face was a little more closed, I guess, than I thought. This was the high face. Oh yeah. Wonder if that spin is accurate.
Probably not, because it's italicized with that.
Yeah, there's a good one.
Pretty straight too.
Not a lot of movement on that one.
No.
I feel like on the center strikes, this feels softer than LTDx, but I feel like on the misses, it's firmer. I know that's maybe doesn't even make any sense, but just on the different club faces that we talked about. See, I hammered that too. The face was open.
Yeah, and one of the things I did with both of these drivers as we're in the testing is the low spin models to this have two weights that are forward. In both instances, I had the heavier weight to the toe, knowing that you have a tendency to turn things over. So like that that you have to put the weights in some position. We can't just not have them in a position.
Right.
Now, in this case, this actually has 3 weight positions on the LS tech.
That's
so
true.
You have two
one
forward, one in the back. Yeah. But in this case, because I had only 2 weight positions here and I put the heavier weights at the toe, I wanted to keep this more of a
as consistent as we could.
Yeah.
I'm hitting the ball very, I feel like the ball speed has to be higher with this if we look at averages. Ooh, that might be the opposite of what I just did. Oh, yeah. There's a good dispersion.
Well, even if we just take, without looking at the direction for the moment, and we take these 2, we know that so far with the dark speed, low spin, you had a few more left shots. So the launch tends to be a little bit lower, but the spin's been italicized with a couple of shots.
Yeah.
But the ball speed is higher.
Yeah.
I mean, almost to the point where it's 4 to 5 miles an hour. And that's major distance.
Yeah.
One of the things we look at, I like to look at, is carry distances. Now, you can see this last shot that you'd hit wasn't maybe necessarily our best.
Yeah. Right. I agree.
But okay, so let's leave it off for the moment, right? Even then, the launch is still about a degree from one another. The spin is very, very close to one another. The dispersion is very close to one another. But when we start talking about the differences, I'm not going to give up ball speed.
Yeah.
We have tweaking to be done here yet.
Oh, I know.
So could be the shaft, absolutely. Could be the weight position. Could be the shaft setting. There's a lot of tweaking to be done yet. But if we just compare these straight up, if that's getting more ball speed, it's game on.
And it's funny because we actually the shot that you removed, I believe, actually had a higher ball speed than the average.
It did.
So
yes.
Would you say, I don't know, is this conclusive enough to say, in terms of taking all strikes into account, that dark speed is probably a little bit faster than LTDx?
We've seen the ball speeds faster on the dark speed lineup than any of the previous models that Cobra's come out with.
Okay. So this lines up with that.
Yeah. With that model, that lineup. That's a huge aspect that I want people to consider, because we talk about it all the time. It's like, someone comes in for a fitting, what are they going to ask? Well, can you get me 10 more yards and hit it straighter? Thank you. That's what every major company is trying to do.
Yeah.
In Cobra's case, they've actually achieved some of these things by really going after, can I get the ball to go faster, and can I get it to go straighter? Mm-hmm. With some of the technologies they have a newer version of the Power Bridge you were mentioning. That Power Bridge is where they have weight, but it's also stabilizing the sole and the crown of the face a little bit differently.
Yeah, kind of brings them and connects them together.
Yeah, they also have, what they've had in their irons is a power shell for quite a while, and they've introduced that into this driver as well. The power shell is kind of like a cup, so that the face actually has more stability down below and up above. And so that's where they got rid of the infinity face, where they milled the metal face. Yeah. Whereas now it's smooth. It still has a rougher texture to it though. Yep. But they found that they've got more ball speed. Yeah. And so now now you have 3 positions of weight, adjustability on the low spin. You have 2 positions of weight on the Dark Speed X and the Max version. That's where I look at it and say, yeah, you may have had a couple of swings in here, but without question, you hit the exact same places, almost the exact same distances to this. Yeah. It wasn't like one was drastically longer. Yeah. But you had more ball speed. Which once you optimize, you're going to see the differences in the distance and everything, and that'll show up. So yeah, very cool. One thing before we wrap, I have the shot with the 2 italicized spin ones. Yes. You could remove 2. Yeah. Just to see if maybe there's a difference in spin, maybe there's not, but maybe if we take those out, we can see that. And if there's not, then, Must have had another one. Oh yeah, right at the top there. Interesting. Okay. So not a gigantic sample by any means, but really close in spin. Again, we talk about this as, all right, I'm gonna put you into a comparison of sorts. Yeah. More than anything, we've seen the feedback in terms of, okay, how does it look? How does it feel? Yep. What's it performance-wise? Most of the time, if someone comes in for a fitting and you're going to come in with your old club and we're going to get you into a new Cobra driver, we're going to find that the numbers aren't going to be that dramatic unless we're making dramatic changes. So we may have to go from your standard old 9 degree driver head, and we might have to crank that up there into 10.5 to get that lift. And then all of a sudden we see 15, 20 yards of carry.
Right. Yeah. Well, this was good. I think I actually did not anticipate seeing the speed go up this much with dark speed, but clearly you can gain a little bit of ball speed if you're playing an older driver, or maybe you're in the LTDx now and you want to pick up some speed, pick up some distance. You certainly can with the dark speed family. So really good comparison here. Thanks, Tyler, for joining and giving us some of the insights, breaking down the TrackMan data. Good stuff here.
Yeah, stop by for a fitting. We'd love to have you in.